Sheikh Asam, in the last episode we were discussing the issue of beautification in Islam, and you mentioned for us the issue, the hairs, the issue of hair, and the categories regarding beautification, that which is permissible, that which is not, and generally it falls under, from what we gathered, that anything that changes the creation of Allah, unless specifically mentioned by the Quran or Sunnah, is impermissible. We were going over the issues of hair that's impermissible to remove for both men and women. We went over the issue of hair that's up to them, and the hair that is obligatory to leave. What about things like extending the hair, like some individuals do, they extend their hair?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, sallallahu sallam wa barak ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. The concept of extending the hair is prohibited in Islam, and this is clearly mentioned when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as in the hadith of Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, said that the Prophet alayhi salatu salam has cursed the woman who adds false hair and fixes hair extensions, and he cursed the woman who has this done, and the woman who tattoos, and the woman who has this done. And this was reported by Al-Bukhari in the Sahih. So this act calls the curse of Allah the Almighty, and we know that whomever Allah curses, He departs him from Allah's mercy, and He would not have him under His mercy, Allah the Almighty.
May Allah protect us.
There is also another hadith where Humayd ibn Abdurrahman ibn Auf said that Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, may Allah be pleased with him, once gave an oration while he was on the mimbar, and he was holding a piece of hair that was seized by one of his guards, and he said to the people, "Where are with him?" He said that the Prophet gave us 40 days, and this is the maximum. Scholars such as Al-Imam al-Nawawi, may Allah have mercy on his soul, said that this does not mean that one should wait until 40 days and nights, because this, to some, would have their nails this long. But this means that even if your nails do not grow normally, on the 40th day or night, you have to clip your nails, even if they do not grow normally. Nowadays, it's the other way around. We find people extending their nails.
Or purposely growing them.
Yes, and this is not only found in women, it's also found in men. I've seen a lot of men clipping their nails, but they're keeping this finger, and this long.
Why would they do this?
I asked so many of them, and they give me so many lame excuses. Some of them say
clean
that
the ear.
yes, they want, and they'll puncture the eardrum most likely. Some say we would use it to remove the dandruff, and some said things that I cannot mention here, and it's absurd, it's pathetic, it's disgusting for a man to have such a nail.
And to use the nail for such activities.
The problem is now not only for men, it's also for women. And you're finding women prolonging and keeping and growing their nails to horrible lengths. And this is against nature.
And this is now, it's become a habit of the non-Muslims, and so it's forbidden for the Muslim women to be imitating them in this, no? Even regardless of
yes,
the direct rulings.
Because we have direct rulings stating that we have to clip the nails. Now, women,
at the maximum of 40 days for men and women.
Yes. Now, women went the extra mile. So now they're not only prolonging their nails and growing them, they are also putting nail polish on top of them. And some of them put red nail polish as if they're animals, you know, just
waiting for their prey.
Well, they're not waiting anymore because they have already killed their prey and they have got blood on their nails.
No.
And it's so strange. I've seen my daughters do this, and I've spoken to them, some of them, alhamdulillah.
Right.
And one of my daughter puts black nail polish.
Like this emo trend.
What is this? Says it looks nice. So anything that looks nice, you imitate. Don't you have your own personality? Don't you have your own character? Why should we always follow people?
I remember one scholar mentioned, he goes, subhanallah, are the Muslims just sheep that we just walk behind anyone? Is the Muslim not proud that he is on the face of the earth following the religion that Allah, the creator of the heavens and the earth, has set forth for him? Should we not feel honored with that task?
Unfortunately, this is the problem. We have people who look down on themselves and they are not that proud. And therefore, whenever they see a new trend, they just follow it. As the Prophet said, ﷺ, that the people, the Muslims, will follow the Jews and the Christians, even if they went into a hole of a lizard, they would follow it.
And even amongst the non-Muslims, they know the quote, which is very famous, "He who stands for nothing falls for everything."
Yes.
The Muslims should be standing for Islam, the most glorious of things, the truth from Allah, that Allah is one.
This is true, but unfortunately, it's there. So, going back to our topic,
yes,
extending the hair is not permissible for women.
And as you mentioned,
and also extending the nails or with false nails,
or leaving them to grow even past 40 days,
and also wearing false eyelashes is not permissible in Islam.
Jazakallah khairan. We mentioned the different types of hair that you can remove and that you have to remove. What about people who say, I don't want to remove my hair from my armpits every week or every 2 weeks or whatnot? Can I get laser? They have now laser surgery which can actually remove the hair and stop it from growing ever again. Is this considered changing the creation?
It's not considered changing the creation because you're instructed to remove this hair. So if there's a safe surgical procedure,
its forms. What about this modern phenomenon of people wearing wigs or wearing these hats that have these fake braids or fake hairs hanging from them?
Okay. I love these hats. My girls bought them once, and when they put these caps, young girls, they were about 6 or 7 years old, and they had these fake braids going on the sides. They looked so beautiful, and I loved it. But then it clicked and said, "Oops, this is not right." And I immediately told them to take it off. They didn't like it. They're young, but again, this is religion. We have to follow the Quran and the Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ cursed the women who extend the hair with false extensions.
It's really not something we want to be relaxed with. We have to be very careful. The wording of the Prophet ﷺ is very, very specific and very heavy.
Yes. Now, one might argue and say, they were children, so Allah will not punish them. And the answer is yes, Allah will not punish them, for sure. But He will punish me.
For allowing it.
Yes, because I'm the guardian of the children. So if I go and tell my child, here's a cigarette, light it and have a few puffs here and there, or if I give him champagne to drink, he's not sinful, I am.
Or even if you see your child reaching for a bottle of chlorine and he's about to drink it, and you have the possibility to stop him and you don't.
It's the same thing. So this is not permissible in Islam. Likewise, it is not permissible to wear anything that gives the impression that this is hair. For example, hairdressers, where I come from, women, when they go to weddings, they tend to make a trick. So they bring a piece of cloth and they put it on their skull and they cover it with their own hair. So it gives the impression that they have thick and big hair.
At the same time, no?
Well, if he has a big beard, it wouldn't be as so. But it is not only imitating women, it is the text that the Prophet told us, the evidence of cursing those who change the creation of Allah. And in some courts of law, in some countries, you get even the judge, the lawyers, the whole people in the courtyard wearing white wigs. And this is not
It's very
proper.
common in the past centuries in Europe that the men used to wear these big white wigs for whatever reason, I can't imagine.
Maybe just to make them look like sheep, peaceful and fair, I don't know. But this is not permissible in Islam, and it's completely forbidden.
Okay, so we've established, barakallahu fikum, that wearing a wig takes the same ruling as extending the hair. It's a form of deception. It's a fake image of hair on the individual.
On most cases.
In most cases, except you said there were some exceptions. What would those exceptions be?
The exception would be when wearing the wig would be a correction of a deformity or of something that is a defect.
So let's say a woman had, and we ask Allah to protect us, had cancer, and she had the chemotherapy treatment where she has hair loss, and she wants to still be beautiful for her husband and make it easy for him in this hard time as well.
This is permissible. If a woman becomes bald because of this, this is permissible. If a woman becomes bald due to any other illness, she is like 20, 30, 40 years old, and she becomes bald completely, no hair at all, it is permissible for her to wear a wig, because this is a correction, and she is not changing the creation of Allah. On the contrary, she is restoring the creation of Allah. Now, there is a hadith which is very important for us to know, that a woman came to the Prophet ﷺ and said that my daughter had an illness and now she has thin hair. It's not gone altogether, but it is not as rich and thick as it used to be. And she's going to get married, so is it permissible for me to extend her hair? And the Prophet said, no, it's not. Scholars say that because of the extension of the hair falls under the Prophet's cursing.
The direct legislation.
Yes, and she had hair. Now, the wig is permissible for a woman to wear when the hair is completely gone.
Not when her hair is just a bit unsatisfying.
Yes, when she's completely bald, as in the case of the chemotherapy or in the case of an illness that causes a woman's hair to completely fall.
So what about the case of, for example, a woman who has curly hair and wants to straighten it, or a woman who has straight hair and wants to make it curly? Is this considered changing the creation?
No, this is not considered to be changing the creation, because it's like wearing your hair, not your hair of course, but it's like wearing a woman wearing her hair in a different style.
She's just changing around how it looks.
Yes, and this is not permanent. It goes like 3 months, or maybe less.
But what about some permanent ones, like they have permanent hair straightening techniques?
It's nothing wrong in that, because fixing the hair is part of the sunnah.
It's like combing or brushing
Yes.
it.
So if you have things, chemicals providing that they are not harmful for you, anything that has side effects or has more disadvantages than the advantages would fall under the category of forbidden things.
So what about a woman, for example, coloring her hair? We know that there's Islamic texts that forbid a woman to color her hair black, for example. Perhaps you could expand on that?
Well, the text is not for women, it's for men. But whatever falls for men falls for women as well. We don't want people to accuse us of segregating, in the sense there is segregation in Islam between men and women, but not in discrimination. We're not discriminating.
And not in rulings and in legislation.
Yeah, the Prophet ﷺ, when he conquered Mecca on the 8th year of Hijrah, Abu Quhafa, may Allah be pleased with him, the father of Abu Bakr, came to the Prophet ﷺ, and he was 80 plus years old. And he was blinded, and he had his hair and beard all white, like Snow White. And the Prophet looked at him ﷺ and said to his family, change this whiteness and avoid black. So in Islam, it is forbidden to use black to dye your hair or your beard. You can use any other color, but black is forbidden for you to use.
So a man could dye his beard blonde if he wants, or his hair blonde?
True, true. You can do whatever you wish, because this is permissible. You can dye it with black and brown, so it gives a brownish color. This is permissible. Pure black is forbidden in Islam, except in the case of, again, a deformity, a case of a defect, a person who is 20 or 25 years old, or a girl who is 25 years old, and she has white hair.
Would it not still be preferable for her to dye it any other color?
Well, she has all the right to dye it in black because this is her natural color and she can have this. And this is Islamic. But if someone is about in his 40s,
He's got some white hairs going on.
He cannot dye this in black. He has to do it in any other color.
Or perhaps, as found in some narrations of the Sunnah, maybe use henna.
Henna is definitely the best thing for your hair, you know, scientifically. And it's following the Sunnah, but
it's natural, it doesn't have chemicals.
yeah, but some people would not like the color. If having, you know, your orange beard and then they say that this is ZZ Top, maybe they won't like this. So it's up to the people. There are different kinds of henna, different shades of brown, of red or whatever, and you may choose whatever suits you, but there's nothing wrong in keeping a white beard or a white hair, providing it's not completely white. If it's completely white, it's part of the Sunnah to change this.
Barakallahu feekum, Shaykh. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.